A great philosopher had a few words of wisdom about days like this. He says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, and then like a rat, they stop in fear and freeze. That was Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's brilliant. I would love to hire him to do culture work with me. The best strategies, the best plans that you could possibly create still have to contend with the uncertain, the volatile, the variable, the complex.
The greatest performers have two types of performance. They have tactical performance. This is how well you execute a plan. You create a plan, you break it down into little steps, and you execute it.
Adaptive performance, however, is how well you diverge from your plan. One's how well you do it, the other's how well you don't do it. Because of that, they're opposing each other. Because of that, a leader has to keep them in balance.
It turns out that organizations with great cultures really focus on how do we build adaptive performance. Most organizations only focus on the tactical stuff.
The real question is, what do we have to do to build adaptive performance? To answer that question, I'm going to turn to Lindsay.
There's a very simple truth that why people work determine how well they work. We can boil all of this down to a single concept, which we call total motivation. Total motivation, or we call it ToMo for short, is when you have lots of the direct motives, lots of play, purpose, and potential, and very few of the indirect motives, very little emotional pressure or economic pressure or inertia. How do you redesign the systems in your company to create ToMo? So the systems are things like, how do you design a role? How do you think about career ladders? How do you compensate people? How do you do performance reviews? But if you have what we call a fire starter behavior, if you're leading in a high ToMo way with lots of play, purpose, and potential, you create about 38 points of total motivation, a huge difference from these other three. If you interview CEOs around the country, 90% of them will tell you that culture is the number one or the number two most important thing in their company. But they'll also all tell you that they have no idea how to build a great culture.
What's amazing at this stage of the conversation, you guys have an insight that very few business leaders actually do. Very few business leaders understand more than tactical performance. Very few business leaders actually understand total motivation and how it affects performance.